Hello guys, in this video I want to share the way how you can build the HUD or user interface pipeline for your project. I came with this approach when I was working on the same theme for my day job, and as you can see from the screen, it's not the common way how most people do. Most people usually create, destruct, update widgets, add them to the viewport from all different places, and it's gonna be quite a mess when you need to arrange the proper behavior for all of them. You should manage a lot of actors, components, maybe interfaces, and so on. And this approach that I'll explain you right in the minute is something more organized and better, both for performance and the logic. So we need to create only one widget. It's called the base widget. By creating, I mean that we should create it from one certain place. It can be player controller or the game mode in case you make the single player game, and only this widget will be added to viewport, and that's it. This approach actually withdraws interfaces. It is based on the idea that nothing in the project know about HUD or UI, but UI know everything about everything. So we create base widget. All other widgets, in my case, I'll show you the health bar and the desk screen, because they are quite simple to actually explain the idea. So they are added inside this base widget as like the child widgets. The order of their how they appear in the hierarchy of the base widget actually explains that order of how they should align to each other. All other like child widgets that, in case we talk about complex UI, for instance inventory, like all other children are managed through the feature widget, but everything is under one base widget. In case we need to have an update like for everything, for instance if you got hit or you got healed, you don't need to use rep identifiers, tick events, timers, interfaces to check the condition where we should update our UI. In this case, we'll use event dispatchers. Event dispatcher is the system, sort of like messenger, when some event sends the message somewhere in space, and our UI will be listening to these events. So it's something like the subscriber. So when the event is called, we'll gather the information and update what we need. Everything is on the demand. So now I'll show you everything in the project, and I guess this approach will help you to understand the idea of proper project organization. So as you can see, I have game mode. This one is the old logic that we should have here. We create base widget, add it to viewport, and when our game mode is done, we should remove it from the viewport. So everything is simple. Our base widget looks like this. So it's simply canvas panel which holds widgets that are created by human, by person. As you can see, user created, as I told you before, health bar and desk screen. They are added like this. And as you can see, the order of how they are added in the hierarchy defines that order. You can actually change it here, but it's up to you actually to decide how you should arrange it. So let's talk about the widgets itself. So once you create, for instance, health bar, you don't actually need to make any sort of alignment instead of just simply size. As you can see, I have overlay, which contains two elements. It's the health bar, actually it's progress bar, and rich text to show us like the value of our health. And when it's added to our base widget here, all anchors and position on the screen should be actually changed here. Always check size to content, and then simply set proper anchors. Don't use anything in the size. As for the desk screen, as you can see, I have here anchor for the whole screen. So in case I don't know the resolution of my screen, I go with offsets both 0. It means that it's independent of the viewport size. And then simple rich text with the message "you died." So actually anchor here. If we talk about the widget that should be added the whole screen, they are actually in the base widget used as the whole covering anchor. Yep, and that's actually it. So the same layout here as we have for the only for the widget that should appear on the whole screen. For the widget that should be added as, sorry guys, that's my phone. So if you talk about widgets that should be added somewhere here with the proper alignment, we don't really care about alignment and icons here, only about the size. So actually, health bar here, desk screen here, and here I toggle visibility just to see how it should look. So in case you have more complex UI, like maybe minimap, some sort of inventory, ability bar, messengers, they should all be added like this one. So if you talk about event dispatchers, I have here in the in my player 2 event dispatchers. Simply press on event dispatcher and add everything that you need. They can actually hold information. So right here, new attribute, and here you can define what type of data it should send. In my case, for health changed, I'm actually sending the float value, and it's the debug functionality here. So once I press plus or minus, I'm changing my health. By default it's 100, and then I simply add 20 and decrease by 20 for each key press. Next, just drag and drop event dispatcher, and we need to make a call. It means that once we change our health, we'll be sending this information somewhere in space, dispatch space. So once we've done this, and in case our health is decreasing, we check if it's equals 0. If it's true, I actually have one more dispatcher for the death screen. So this one I'll explain soon. But if I'm not dead, I'm calling health changed also. So in this case, we will have increased health. In this case, we'll have decreased health. I do need to have condition. So for this one, I created the enumeration, simply alive or dead. There should be more states. So these states are for actually changing the visibility of each widget on my screen. So back here, because we don't use add or destroy widget, in base widget, defining depending on the states of our player or something else, will be actually changing the visibility of our widgets. Switching visibility for UMG means that like if it's visible, it's the same as the widget is constructed. If it's invisible, it means that it's destroyed. So construct and destruction logic will trigger depending on the visibility. So here I have two conditions. So I also added dispatcher, which is called player state changed, and here I added enumeration, this one. So once my health equals 0, I also call dispatcher with the state of dead. Also on the event begin play, I should make 2 more calls. So when I start the game, actually our interface, sorry guys, our UI should know the current state of our player. So when the player starts, our UI should know its current health and its current state. That's simple, nothing more. Now for the health bar here, we go to graph, and as you can see, on event construct, I use owning player pawn. It's the abstract class that will return the our player. In my case, it's BP player. It's actually described here, default pawn class, BP player, in my game mode. So I save it as the reference. To bind event or function to be updated on the event dispatcher, we need to have the reference where this dispatcher is. So that's why I have the player reference here. And then I actually created the function which is called update health bar. It looks like this, which is called when this dispatcher calls. So you can simply make something like this, and we should actually, yep, make something like this. Sorry guys, let me show you what I mean. In case you don't have the function and you don't need to, or you don't want to create event node here to provide the delegate, you can actually do something like this. But one detail I should tell you is that to make it work, your custom event, should actually have the same input as the event dispatcher have. So in case of health bar, it's float value. In case of player state change, it's enumeration. So that's why value float, and then something like this. So right after this, all this logic will actually work. And as you can see, there is no compilation error. But let's go back. So it's quite interesting way, quite efficient, because you don't need to have tick, timer, and some other type of logic. So depending on where the delegate is called, delegate dispatcher is calling, whether it's timer, whether it's tick events or on demand, the same logic will do for our listener, for our receiver. So on the construct, we should bind our custom event, our function, this one, to our dispatcher. And it's a good practice to unbind the same logic when the widget is destructed. So it won't be updating when we don't see this widget. So that's it. And as for the health bar logic, it's quite simple. This one is the rich text, so it actually doesn't, you don't really need to understand what I'm trying to do here. It's just for the sake of the demo. I'm simply changing my message and the percentage of the health bar. As for this screen, I simply play animation when my widget is constructed, and when it's destructed, I stop playing animation. This animation is simple pop-up. Let me show you. So as you can see, I have 100 health. I'm decreasing it, and as you can see, my health is changed. And ta-da! My health bar is cleared, and I have another widget on the top of it with the animation "you died." Here I don't actually need any dispatcher, because when the condition comes like this, in the base widget, I also do have the logic, and this logic is actually also about the dispatches. So I bind the function which is called update HUD. This function is changing the visibility of the layers of the widgets. This one, depending on the enumeration that I have created. So, as you can see, the same type of logic. I have the reference for my player, because the dispatcher is created on the player, and I bind this function to the player change state when it's called. So here and here, once my player is created, it's alive. Once its health is equal 0, it's dead. And also destruct logic. Also, as you can see, here I have enumeration. The same should I have the same I should have on my function. So here it is. And here you can, or you should, add all this widgets that you should have on the screen. And depending on the enumeration, you should switch, like select the visibility of every widget. So when the health bar, so when I am alive, health bar is visible, and when player is dead, it's hidden. This, the opposite goes for the death screen. When I'm alive, it's hidden. When I'm dead, it's visible. So everything is simple. I'll add this sample to the I'll leave the link for this sample under the description to this video, so you can see it yourself and understand the whole idea behind the UI pipeline and using delegates, dispatches. So that's actually it. I hope you understand the idea behind it, and if you try, you will see that it's quite good and efficient way to build up the pipeline for your interface, user interface. So I know this especially this video is quite boring, but something is interesting, something is boring, but everything is for the education purposes. For those who want to support me, I do have Patreon page. I also do have Discord channel, so please subscribe, leave your feedback, and see you soon.